Hey, Cliff Ravenscraft here, and I decided today I was going to create a video recording of me doing a recording of my audio journal podcast. Now, my audio journal podcast is a podcast that I do at least once a week, every week, and I've done since November 2018. And it's where I share just what's going on inside of my head all of the time. I share behind the scenes insights into the things that I'm thinking about when it comes to my personal and professional growth, what's going on behind the scenes in my business. It's the most authentic, transparent information you could possibly imagine. And currently, what I've been doing in the audio journal is sharing my notes on this book right here, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And I have been devouring this as if this was a college course. I mean, just to give you an idea, you can just see how much I've not only outlined or highlighted, but I underline certain lines here. I write in the margin. It's just like this just is an amazing book. And I started, oh gosh, it was 1 week ago. I began to share my thoughts on the first two chapters of this book. And then I found that, wow, I have already done 13 episodes on this. I'm noticing that there's a little thing up on my screen here, so I'm going to click that. All right. Anyway, 13 episodes just on the first two chapters. And now I'm on chapter 3, and I think this is my third episode of the audio journal on chapter 3. If you'd like to hear some of these episodes, actually, all of these are available to audio journal subscribers. It's $10 a month via Patreon. You can find this over at mindsetanswerman.com/audio journal or go to patreon.com/Cliff Ravenscraft. Either of those URLs will get you there. But what I want to do is record my 16th episode of this series, which is going to be episode 184 of the audio journal. So I just wanted to let you know what you're about ready to see is just the behind the scenes. This is just watching me record the next episode of this little series. And I'm going to put my old man glasses on here in just a moment because, well, that way, with my contacts in, I'll be able to see up close because when I wear my contacts, I can't see. I can see great far away, not so much up close. But faith, or chapter 3 is about faith, and we're going to be talking today about autosuggestion. So here we go. Let's do this. Well, my friends, welcome. This is episode 184 of the audio journal. This is Think and Grow Rich update number 16. And I guess we're just going to go ahead and go straight on into auto suggestion today. And even though we're still in chapter 3 on faith, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm actually positive it says chapter 4 is auto suggestion. But there's so much in chapter 3 about auto suggestion. It's like, okay, we've just got to go ahead and talk about it here. So, and of course, I understand why, because Napoleon Hill states that autosuggestion is really what's required for you to develop faith. Now, I before we begin, I want to explain to you what I think is being said when we talk about faith. There is obviously the meaning to the word of faith being something that belief in the divine, having a sense of confidence of in a creator, or faith as a theological stance of the a theological worldview is my faith says this, my faith. So there's that aspect of faith. But what I as I'm reading this chapter on faith, it's about belief. It's like it's am I confident? Do I feel certain? Do I believe this will happen? You know, it is a belief slash faith, or there's expectancy. And another thing that I want to do is I just want to go ahead and pull up. I'm going to pull up on my iPad here. I'm going to Google auto suggestion definition. And let me read to you. And it says here, the hypnotic or subconscious adoption of an idea that one has originated oneself through repetition of verbal statements to oneself in order to change behavior. That is a definition of autosuggestion. So it is the hypnotic or subconscious adoption. That means that your subconscious mind has adopted an idea. And literally, I think about adoption like a father adopts a son. It's like, listen, you know what? I'm going to take this in as my own. Okay, I'm going to this is going to become a part of me. All right, so think about that. Auto suggestion is the process by which your subconscious mind, which we've talked about in previous episodes, is the operating system of our life. Everything that goes on in our life is a result of all the programming code from our subconscious mind. And so if you want to program new code, you do it through the process of autosuggestion. Or you could do it instantly through highly energized, emotionalized thoughts in a given moment. But if you can, anyway, the process of autosuggestion here that we're going to talk about is the fact that our subconscious mind is going to adopt an idea as true. It's going to accept it into the programming code. All right, this definition says a thought or an idea that has originated in oneself. Basically, it's something that I'm saying to myself. I am a great person. I am a great father. That is an auto suggestion. I am telling myself I am a great father. I have a desire to be a great father. I choose intentionally to think about how I am as a father to my children, and so therefore I am a great father because I am always working towards the goal of being a great father. I feel that I've been called to be a father of character, a father who loves his children. Therefore, I may not be perfect, but I'm always working on improving. And when I do make mistakes, and I certainly make mistakes every now and then, that doesn't negate me from being successful and being a great father. In fact, what makes me a great father is when I make a mistake, or if I make a mistake, then I learn from it and I try to avoid that same mistake moving forward. So anyway, and it's not just thinking these thoughts once to myself and saying these things to myself once. It's through repetition of these verbal statements to myself. That is actually what causes my subconscious mind to adopt it. It's repeated over and over again. Again, all of this is coming from this Google searched definition. And of course, what is the purpose of autosuggestion? It's in order to change behavior. And what does that mean? In order to change the actions that we take in life. All right. So that's what autosuggestion is. By the way, if I suggest to you, I think you could double your rates, or I'm sorry, double your income within the next 12 months. Whatever your income right now, if I tell you, I suggest to you, you can double your rates within the next 12 months. That's me suggesting that to you. Now, if you accept it and you have confidence and faith in me, you have belief in me, and you believe that I would never lie to you and what I'm telling you is true. If you believe that is true, and I tell you, you can double your rates within the next 12 months. What you hear from me is a suggestion, and your mind instantly is hearing that as, wow, Cliff is telling me that I can double my rates at within the next 12 months, or double my income within the next 12 months. And what I'm saying is, anytime somebody makes a suggestion to you, the fact that you're hearing it, and if you choose to believe it, you're automatically translating that instantly into an auto suggestion. So every suggestion that's ever made to you is an auto suggestion, but one that you believe and you repeat over and over again automatically gets accepted all the way down into the subconscious mind, aka the programming language of your life, and therefore all of your actions are based upon the code of your operating system inside your subconscious mind, and therefore that's auto suggestion. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to read some stuff from, I think we're going to do pages 49 through 54 in my version of this book. And there are a couple things in here that it says. There are a couple statements. First of all, faith. And again, I think when he's saying faith, I think of this as faith as in belief or an expectancy of something. This is something that you believe to be true. Faith, he says, is actually, he says, faith gives life, power, and action to impulsive thought. Now, we've talked about impulsive thought in prior episodes, so I'm not going to go into impulsive thought. But these thoughts that we have are given life and power and put into action by our belief in those thoughts. All right. So our faith is the eternal elixir. So faith is what actually gives life to thought impulses. All right. Faith or belief is the starting point of the accumulation of riches, is what he says. And I will say that faith and belief is the starting point, not just of riches, but it's the starting point of the achievement of any goal that you desire. Whatever your goal is, whatever your dream is, it must start with faith. He says here, faith is the basis of all miracles and mysteries that cannot be analyzed by the rules of science. So, for example, there have been documented medical cases, people who have been miraculously healed of cancer, and science just has no explanation for this whatsoever. That is a miracle, the doctor will say. Well, the basis of that beginning, the starting point of that would be faith, a belief that it is possible. All right. Faith, he says, is the only known antidote to failure. The only way that you can avoid ultimate failure is through faith that you will succeed, an absolute belief that you will exceed, and that you are unashamedly, without any doubt in your mind, you are absolutely expecting yourself. There's an expectation of success. You will succeed is what there is no opportunity. There's no option. You've literally decided. You've killed off any other outcome than succeeding. And if you have that much faith, failure is not an option. It won't occur. He says faith is the only known antidote to the failure. Faith is the element which, when mixed with prayer, gives one direct communication with infinite intelligence. And I know we talked about the fact that a lot of people, and including myself, many years ago when I read this for the first time, had a difficult challenge with the phrase infinite intelligence. And I did an entire episode about infinite intelligence and how that is the source of all things, aka the creator, or in my case, when I see infinite intelligence, I say God. Okay. So faith is the element or the chemical, he says, in which when you take faith and mix it with prayer, it gives one direct communication with God. All right. It is through faith that we are able to directly communicate with God. He says that faith is the element that transforms the ordinary vibration of thought created by the finite mind of man into the spiritual equivalent. All right. He also said that faith is the only agency through which the cosmic force of God can be harnessed and used. So it's only through faith. Now, I know that not everybody who listens to the audio journal in this series on Think and Grow Rich shares my faith in God the Creator from a Christian perspective. I just acknowledge that is mine and that is where I come from. And so I tend to process this through the filter of my own faith, not belief, the other version of faith in my theological view of the world, my theological model of the world, my faith background, my faith upbringing, my faith conditioned thoughts, and things that I've accepted in my mind to be true, the things that I feel certain is true about our Creator, my Creator, your Creator. But whether or not you adopt it or not, I ask myself, these statements that Napoleon Hill is stating in his philosophy of success, of how to gain access to the things you want in life, are these in alignment with my faith? Or is there something inside of here that just doesn't jive with what I believe to be true? And if I look at the Bible, I'm reminded of the things where it says, if you believe and do not doubt, whatever you ask for in my name, you shall have. He says, if any of you are sick, if any of you need to be healed, pray for one another. But when you pray, you must not doubt. All right. So there's lots of other scriptures. I could go and find all of those, but I know these things enough because I've studied them. For those of you who don't know, I spent 10 years in an official ministry capacity. Uh, I spent 10 years as an associate pastor before I actually started all of my podcasting journey back in December of 2005. So anyway, this jives. All of those statements I'm totally cool with. I know that vibrations and stuff like that, if you're just tuning in, you probably want to go back to those earlier episodes of the audio journal where I talked about vibrations and things like that, about the fact that there's this energy throughout all things. There's the invisible space that even in the air in front of you, though you can't see it, there are literally countless number of frequency and vibrations and energy forces that are beaming everywhere at all times. And I know that used to sound woo-woo and new agey to me. It's just that it is absolutely true, and therefore you can tune into any number of radio signals. And I'll get back to that in just a moment. Continuing on, Napoleon Hill says this. He says, one comes to believe whatever one repeats to oneself, whether the statement is true or not. All right. So the idea here is you're going to end up believing and adopting as being true, and therefore accepting new programming code, any thought that you repeat over and over to yourself. It doesn't matter if the statement is actually true or false. If you repeat it over and over again, if you repeat it enough time, if it gets reinforced enough, eventually, whether that statement, that thought is true or false, you will adopt it. Matter of fact, he continues. He says, if a person repeats a lie over and over, the lie will be eventually accepted as truth. So even though it's a lie, but if you believe that thought, if it's a lie, but you've said it to yourself, I don't, I didn't steal that. I didn't steal that, and you stole something. But if you keep telling yourself you didn't steal that, eventually you'll accept it as truth. Moreover, he says, it will be believed to be the truth. You'll actually get to the place where you believe you didn't even do it. You could actually convince yourself that you didn't steal that thing that you've been lying about stealing. All right. He says, each of us, by the way, I have a little puppy that's in my studio here. I'm babysitting our pup while the rest of my family's out on an errand. So he's over in his little crate there, and he's like, hello, what are you doing? I was napping, and I'd like you to let me out of my crate now, but I'm going to record this episode. Anyway, each of us is what we are because of the dominating thoughts we permit to occupy our minds. We are who we are. We are where we are in life because of our habitual thought processes. This includes how much money you have in the bank, how difficult it is for you to generate income, how difficult is it for you to gain or lose weight, whatever the case may be. All of these is because of the thoughts that we continue to hit, the dominating thoughts that we allow to repeat through our mind over and over again. The dominating thoughts that we are exposed to from the people that we surround ourselves with. I'm reminded of Jim Rohn, who said, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Tony Robbins says that our life is the direct reflection of the people. Tony Robbins says our life is the direct reflection of the expectations of our peer group. You see, the people who we surround ourselves with, those 5 people we spend the most time with, they have a routine of dominating thoughts. Somebody who, people who say, you know what, I'll never lose weight, so why bother? You get around enough people like that, and they say those things. They say, you know what, I tried to lose weight, and just gain it all back. I just kind of I hate going to the gym. I can never get up early, blah, blah, blah. You hear those enough from the people around you, you might actually start being influenced and having those thoughts and start to come around to agreement. because every time they say those things, even though they're saying them about what they believe, they're expressing them as truth. This is like, it's true. I've blah blah blah. And when you hear it, your mind is automatically translating that into an auto suggestion, and you hear it enough, and you start thinking it enough, and if you start saying it enough to other people, all of a sudden, boom, now you believe. There's no way that I can lose weight. I gain it all back, blah, blah, blah. There's no way I'm going to be able to, do this. I can't wake up early in the morning. I'm not a morning person. I hate mornings, blah, 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 blah. You can be influenced by other people's dominating thoughts as well but whatever your dominant, each of us, we are who we are because of the dominating thoughts that we permit to occupy our minds. I love that. Let's see here. He says thoughts which are mixed with any of the feelings or emotions constitute magnetic force which attracts from the vibrations of the ether other similar or repeated thoughts or related thoughts. I'm sorry. Now, this it gets a little again, my earlier mindset and view of the world that would have seemed so new age. By the way, I've talked about in previous episodes, ether is nothing more than a description of a place, a space. Ether is in one definition, it's that space above the clouds, but it's the invisible. It's I can look if I were to look out my window and I see a tree at the other side of our property. In between here and the tree, there's seemingly nothing. But in between the tree, between where I am and that tree, is ether. That is the ether. It is the makeup of all things. Even though I don't see anything between here and there, inside of the ether there is countless waves of energy. And the way that I can tell you this is if I were to bring an AM FM radio, I could tune in to any of the local radio stations, AM radio stations and FM radio stations. But not only could I tune into a various number of radio stations. Hold on one second. Leo, I need you to lay down and be quiet, please. Thank you very much. Lay down. No more of your noises over there. I'm recording a podcast. Lay down. Thank you. All right. So I could tune into any of those number of FM radio stations, but they're all right here. Matter of fact, they're even coming in through the window. Those energy forces have the strength to not only be out there in the open space, but they're able to penetrate through the walls. This vibrating wavelengths. That's how radios work, and I could tune into it. But not only that, but it's not just all of the local FM stations. It's not just the local AM stations, but there's shortwave radio signals. And those are different vibrating energy levels, waveforms, and all these other things. And so therefore, there are people who are broadcasting over in Sydney, Australia, and they're taking shortwave frequencies and they're bouncing those up with their antennas up into the ionosphere, which then through the curvature of of our atmosphere, depending on atmospheric conditions, I could have a shortwave radio here in northern Kentucky, and I could tune to the frequency, the frequency of the wavelength, and I could actually take those the signal that's being broadcast in Sydney, Australia, and I could tune into it and receive it right here. Even through the barriers of our walls in our house, there are frequencies everywhere. Now, the one thing that could be a struggle is to understand that thoughts are things. Now, that was the first statement that Napoleon Hill says in his book in chapter 1. Thoughts are things. And it can be a challenge to understand that thoughts are vibrating energy. That you are now, whether or not you can accept that is what Napoleon Hill is suggesting here. So can you accept that thoughts are things and thoughts are, and by the way, we're things. My hand is made up of atoms. My hand is made up of particles. And atoms, if you shrink them down to their smallest form, it's just a bunch of vibrating energy that vibrates at such a high frequency that it's impossible for us to possibly imagine. but our hand is just a collection of all these that are gathered together. And so this is all vibrating energy, and it's all put together into what's my physical thing here. And so just like my hand is a bunch of can be broken down to the atomic level, and then today with modern science down to the subatomic level, quantum level, if you will. I know this gets really crazy, but this is all I've this is why I'm able to understand this at a new level today, because the amount of study that I've went into. Is there science to back some of this stuff up? And there is. So thoughts are things. Thoughts are the form of this vibration energy. And by the way, the if you were to um, if you were to take a lighter, a match, basically any source of fire, or let's just say you've lit a candle and it's got a fiery flame on top of the candle, and you hold your hand over top of that flame, and all of a sudden you start to sense that burn. It's like, ouch, and you jerk your hand away. How did that happen? It happened because all of a sudden there were some sensing nerve endings that all of a sudden sent a pulsation of energy, vibrating energy, all the way up through your nervous system, up into your brain, and said, "Boom! There's this," and that actually vibrated and said, "Hey, this is a thought. You might want to move your hand away." And your subconscious mind is so powerful and so fast that it actually does it without you even thinking about it. So that's how awesome our subconscious mind is. The greatest gift that God has ever given us, or one of them, is our subconscious mind that actually does all this stuff for us. It's incredible. So wow, I think I was going to go somewhere else even further with the vibrations and stuff like that, but thoughts, I think it's good enough. So if I go with all of this, and if you can accept the fact that there are the unseen things in here, which are radio signals. I could be tuning into the top 20 radio station of the latest hits. I could turn into the local country music station. I could turn into the AM news talk shows. All of that is available for me, and it's here in between you, where I'm looking at the camera. By the way, for those, okay, so I'm letting the cat out of the bag. I'm actually recording a video of me recording this audio program here for you guys. But so I'm looking at a camera, and those who would be watching me on video, in between them, they see me, but gosh, I'm waving my hand in between me and the camera lens. And even though I'm doing all this stuff, there is literally countless energy waves and wavelengths of energy that I'm sticking my hand through. And no matter what, even though I would do that between the signals that are coming from the sky and the radio, I still wouldn't even be interrupting that signal, because those wavelengths are going to penetrate through the vibrating particles of my hand. Okay. It's crazy, I know. But if you can accept all of that, and I hope you can, because it's true, which, by the way, was just me suggesting that to you. So can you accept that as an auto suggestion? That, I don't know, maybe. So thoughts, which are just things, okay, vibrating energy that come into our mind. Think about that for just a second. Thoughts which are mixed with any feeling or emotion. Now, if we can take a thought and we can attach a feeling to it or an emotion to it, it doesn't matter if it's positive, negative, any emotion. If you take thoughts and mix it with emotions, that will create a magnetic force. It will energize and magnetize. It will take that thought and magnetize it, and that is now going to attract from the vibrations of the ether, or from all of that invisible space that you can't see. It's going to start taking in those radio frequencies, and it's going to attract similar related thoughts. So if I have a positive thought, you know what? Today is going to be a great day. I am going to have a wonderful, awesome day today. All right. Now, no matter, I realize that not everything is within my control, but today I'm going to have a great day. I'm always going. I believe that life is going to happen for me today and not against me. All right. Life is happening for me, not to me. I'm not a victim. I get to control how I process and think about anything that happens to me today. These are positive thoughts. All right. And then all of a sudden, if that's you know what, I feel that I actually feel the emotion of peace, and I have a sense of joy attached to those statements. Man, I'm excited about the possibilities that are going to be everywhere I look today. Now, those are all thoughts that I've now got some emotional attachment to. Because I have those, I am magnetically attracting other thoughts just like that. So then all of a sudden, I get an email that says, Cliff, you're an absolute scumbag. I saw this thing that you did the other day and blah, blah, blah. And you're a horrible person. And I think that you should be ashamed of yourself and blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, I like, well, what's he talking about? And then all of a sudden, I see that there was something. It's like, oh, you know what? I shouldn't have said that. You know what? Maybe this person. I mean, gosh, I don't necessarily agree with the accusations of my character. I was not being intentional, but man, I can certainly see how some people could come off thinking, "Wow, Cliff, you were totally wrong." But man, you know what? Gosh, I shouldn't have said that way. In fact, I kind of just said it in passing. I wasn't thinking. I just came out, but man, that I definitely feel real. Boy, that was wrong for me to have said or done that thing. Ah, wow. But what am I going to do about this? Well, now I've got thoughts coming in, but now I'm attracting magnetically. I'm pulling in. And it's like, whoo. You know what? That there's some powerful lessons in here. What does this make possible? Because I believe that things happen for me, not against me. I believe that all things work together for the good. There is no there nothing happens by circumstance. I believe all things work out. There's something that I'm going to learn from this. Number one, need to be more cautious. Maybe I need to start outlining things a little bit more. Maybe I should be more intentional about outlining the stuff before I just go saying things. I don't know. There's something I'm going to learn from this. And now, based upon that, what am I going to do? Number one, I'm going to create a new piece of content, send it out to the same group of people, whether it was an email or a vlog or a podcast. I'm going to go, hey guys, do you remember what I said yesterday? I didn't even realize I had said this, or maybe I did, and just kind of as a joke, but I was wrong. And now this gives me an opportunity to tell you that, hey, number one, I'm not perfect. There are still lots of areas for room for me to grow, and certainly I've now grown. I think that moving forward, I'm going to be a better communicator as a result of making that mistake. But boy, it's painful to know that I actually said those things. And the one thing that's painful is the fact that some people who heard that may have tuned out and blah blah blah, and they'll never listen to anything else I say. And man, knowing that is even more for me to say, wow, I'm going to be more intentional about that. I see the thing is all of a sudden I could take something that used to send me off the deep end of lack of confidence and wow, I'm a horrible person. Why do I even bother? Maybe I should just hang it up and stop. No, my thoughts that started my day, my dominating thoughts that the life is happening for me, not against me. Uh, every time I fail has an equal seed of opportunity for growth. Every limitation has a seed of equal opportunity. These are the dominating thoughts, and I have positive thoughts. So when all of a sudden something comes in that challenges me at the deepest level, I come away and I tend to magnetically pull in from the ether all of these different thoughts that support all of the other thoughts that I started out with my dominating thoughts of positive stuff. And I say, what does this? Okay, based upon this, what does this make possible? How is this actually going to end up serving me so that I serve others in a better, more powerful way? In what good is going to come out of this? These are the things that I'm attracted to think about because I've magnetically pulled them in. So let's just say I wake up in the morning, man, another day. Let's say my my dominating thoughts are the opposite. Man, I just can't catch a break. My life is challenging, difficult. I mean, look at 2020. I mean, it's June of 2020. I mean, March, we saw the coronavirus and it canceled everything. I had plans for speaking at all these gigs, all of that income out the window, man. And then all of a sudden I had this, and it's like people are losing their jobs. I'm probably going to end up losing all of my clients. Um, my incomes. What am I going to do about my mortgage payment? It's like, gosh, I just can't catch a break. And not only that, but there's all these other things. It's not like it's just like everything happens. It's just all blowing up. And then there's the murder hornets, and then there's the riots, and it's just like the world's falling apart. I think the end of the world is coming. I mean, gosh, I've been feeling a lot of tightness in my chest. I'm wondering if I'm having a heart attack, and gosh, I'm afraid to go to the hospital because I'm afraid if I go there, if it's just anxiety, and I go to the hospital I'm probably just going to get coronavirus and die. But what if I don't go to the hospital and I don't get this checked out? Maybe I'm going to have a heart attack. Dominating thoughts and blah blah blah, and then all of a sudden I'm having all of these thoughts, and I'm magnetically taking all of this crappy thoughts. And then when I get that same email, Cliff, you're blah, blah, blah. I can't believe you said that, blah, blah, blah. Oh my gosh. You know what? I'm a fraud. You know what? This person's right. It doesn't matter that I have over the years, I have countless hundreds and thousands of handwritten notes and letters and feedback from people who have said how much I've influenced their life for the better, made their lives better. No, I can't think about that. That's not my dominating thoughts. My dominating thoughts are all the people who criticize me. And it's like, you know what? Why should I even bother? You know what? I think I'm just going to quit podcasting. I think I just quit creating content. Because I look funny with my old man glasses on and all this stuff. I'm just going to quit all of this stuff because some of my camera angles, I look like I got the double chin. I got the crooked bottom teeth, and that one guy says I should have dental work, and he's probably actually he's right, and who would want to see me on video? And and so all of those thoughts are out there. Just like I could choose to tune into country music versus classical music versus top hits of today music, I could choose to uh, tune into thoughts with my mind, and I can tune my my mind to tune into the frequency of good, positive thoughts to help me attain the things I want in life. Or I could choose to magnetically pull into my mind and be attuned to thoughts that are negative, that support my view of the world and my belief that everything's happening against me, and that I just can't catch a break and I can never win. So that's what this is actually saying. It's not so new age woo-woo as I used to think it was. Thoughts, which are mixed with any of the feelings or emotions, once you really tune into a thought and get emotionally attached to them, which I encourage you to take positive ones, you will actually magnetize those thoughts, and it will begin to pull in and attract all sorts of other thoughts that go in from a similar related thought process. So he says in here, let's see here. He says, a thought thus magnetized with emotion may be compared to a seed that when planted in fertile soil germinates, grows, and multiplies itself over and over again until that one small seed becomes countless millions of seed of the same brand. So imagine a tomato, and you plant that seed into the ground of the fertile soil of your mind, and you give it a lot of fertile thought and an environment for it to thrive. And then all of a sudden it shoots up, and all of a sudden off of the vine of the tomato plant is these beautiful, ripe, amazing tomatoes. And then inside those tomatoes are lots of other seeds, which you can then plant those seeds, and it can, and all of a sudden it's like that's what he's saying here. I love this. He says the ether, and again, I've hoped I've demystified the ether for you. The ether is a great cosmic mass of eternal forces of vibration. It is made up of both destructive vibrations and constructive vibrations. So just all around us are these thoughts that are destructive thoughts, or all of these constructive, destructive, or constructive, positive or negative. It depends on how you feel about pop music versus country music. Maybe you like one and hate the other. The thing is they're all out there. Okay. It's just which ones are you choosing to tune into? And you tune into them by allowing one of them to become the dominating thoughts of your mind. All right. He says, um, let's see here. Actually, I'm not going to go over all of this. The human mind is constantly attracting vibrations that harmonize with that which dominates our mind. Same thing said in a different way. He says any thought, idea, or plan or purpose which you hold in your mind will attract from the vibration of the ether a host of its relatives. It adds these relatives to its own force and then grows even stronger and becomes that dominating, motivating master of the individual in whose mind it is housed. He says any ideal or plan or purpose may be placed in the mind through the repetition of thought. All right. This is why you are asked to write down. In an earlier episode, we talked about where you come up with your definite chief aim, your ultimate outcome. What is your goal? What is that thing that you're after in life that you are expecting to have? He says that this is why we tell you to write it down, to commit it to memory, to repeat it in audible words day after day until these vibrations of sound have reached your subconscious mind through autosuggestion. All right. The thing is, it's one thing to say, "Oh, you know what? It'd be nice. It'd be nice if I was able to generate $360,000." And I can think of a couple ways that I'd be able to do that, and I mean, and gosh, what if I actually just got my recurring revenue to where the things that I'm already doing every week anyway in my business, it automatically generates the $30,000. That would be nice. And then just go on with your day. Do you think if you just said that thought once, that all of a sudden that's going to be you're gonna instantly have your subconscious mind take it and say, okay, let's run with that and make it happen? No, it's through auto suggestion repeatedly over and over again. So inside, and I talked about this in a previous episode of the audio journal. My one of the many definite chief aims that I'm going after right now is a specific goal. One of them is a goal that I have for 2020, and it's this: I will generate a minimum of $360,000 in business income this year by the end of this year. I will do so through my paid mastermind groups and one-on-one coaching and very few other products and services, which basically says I am going to remain focused where I know I'm the most, where I get the biggest return on serving people at the deepest level. It's through my mastermind group and my one-on-one coaching. I will not lose focus like I have in the past. So I will generate a minimum of $360,000 by the end of this year. I will do so through my paid mastermind group, my one-on-one coaching, and few other products and services. Not only that, but I will also increase my recurring revenue from my next level mastermind and my one-on-one coaching. My recurring revenue will increase to a minimum of $30,000 a month by the end of this year. Now, I just spoke that from memory off the top of my mind. And the reason is because prior to going through Think and Grow Rich for the fourth time recently here, prior to this, I'd already put that in my 2020 goals, and I had already set a reminder in my Todoist app, my to-do manager. I had told it to remind me every Monday morning to go through and review my goals. And so I had been reading that once a week, every week anyway. But since I started Think and Grow Rich, and in chapter 2, it talked about the formula that he suggests, which is to take one of those goals and read it out loud every morning and every night. And not only so I actually have now I have my to-do manager at 5 a.m. It says read this statement. At 8 p.m. read this statement. Every morning when I wake up, before I go to bed, both 2 times a day, every day I'm reading that statement. Not only that, but every time I pull out my wallet, I see this. I am fully committed to generating a minimum of $360,000 in business revenue in 2020 through my paid mastermind groups and through my one-on-one coaching and few other products and services. My recurring revenue will be a minimum of $30,000 a month by 2021. This is on a little index card in my wallet. Every time I open my wallet, I see that, and I will read it to myself. This is repeated over and over again, and that's how it gets into the subconscious mind. He says, we are what we are because of the vibrations of thought that we pick up and register through the stimuli of our daily environment. My daily environment, I intentionally include the stimuli of these thoughts over and over again. They become the dominant thoughts of my mind. And as a result, they actually get accepted into my subconscious mind. And my subconscious mind is the operating system of my life. My subconscious mind, which is what tells me what to feel and how to act. It tells me, boom, this came in. Subconscious mind chunks on that. Oh, if this, then that. So if this happens, feel this way, take this action. That's how it works. That's the subconscious mind. All right. He says, by the way, he says, you need to resolve to throw off the influences of any unfortunate environment and to build your own life to order. Create your own environments. If you're surrounded in an environment where people are telling you there's no way you can do that, that's ridiculous, you don't need that much money. How, gosh, if you continue to increase your income, you're just stealing wealth from other people. If that's what you're hearing, if you're getting those thought impulses and people are saying those things are coming through the air. They're coming to you. You're coming in, and you're actually turning around and bringing that in as an auto-suggestion. You get surrounded by enough people. It doesn't matter if you like them, don't like them, whatever. But if they repeat it enough and you hear it enough, you're going to automatically translate it into an auto suggestion, and it gets repeated enough. Even if it's a lie, you will start to get it into your subconscious mind. And every time all of a sudden money comes in, you see your income go, oh, man, I'm stealing from other people. Now that I'm so wealthy, I'm stealing. Even if it's not true, you live and believe as if it is true. All right. So he says that we need to resolve to throw off. I'm just looking at my time here. We need to resolve to throw off any influences of any unfortunate environment and build our own environment. Surround yourself with people who are in alignment with the kind of beliefs that you need to support what it is you're going after in life. That's one of the reasons why I love the Next Level Mastermind and why I've been in a mastermind group every week since October 2010. Um, he says you're going to learn that your greatest weakness is your lack of self-confidence. Let me just pause for just a moment. Have you ever suffered from a lack of self-confidence? Have you? I know I have. I don't today. I mean, all you have to do is listen to the tone of my voice. I have absolutely no lack of confidence. I am so confident today that some people mistake me and the way that I communicate with the world and the way that I show up. I'm not, it's not often. I am sometimes mistaken as an extremely arrogant, pompous person. That only happens very rarely. Most people don't, but I am an extremely confident person. Now, I'm not a perfect person. I'm not always right. I make mistakes just like you, but I am confident. I can achieve anything that I want. Seriously, I'm confident of that. That is not a lie. I know that anything that I put my mind to, I can and will achieve. There is no doubt. Absolutely. And I mean, I don't need to defend it. I just know it. So let me ask you this. Have you ever struggled with self-confidence? The lack of self-confidence keeps you from doubling your prices. Lack of self-confidence keeps you from going and applying for a job that pays twice what you're currently making if you're an employee. lack of self-confidence is what keeps you lonely and out of relationship. If that's how you feel in life, your lack of self-confidence is what keeps you from going to that girl that you've had a crush on for the last several months and going up and striking a conversation. It's lack of self-confidence that keeps you from having anything you want in life. All right, but if you want to have confidence, it comes from faith. And that is, of course, chapter 3 of this book is faith. And if you want to have faith, it's going to happen through autosuggestion. Different statements. You know what? I am an attractive person. Not only am I physically attractive, but I have many attractive personality traits. I have a sense of humor. I'm a fun-loving person. The woman of my dreams would love to spend time with me. All right, I am someone who is a caring and affectionate and empathetic person, and I'm a great mate. This is how I had the confidence to be with the woman who is now my wife, Stephanie. So confidence. He says, your greatest weakness is lack of self confidence. This handicap can be surmounted, and timidity can be translated into courage through the aid and principle of autosuggestion. All you have to do is take all those limiting beliefs that are leading you to your, I just always make mistakes. I am absolutely poor. I'm drowning in debt, and I'll never be out of debt. I don't know why any woman would ever be interested in me. My breath stinks. I forget to brush my teeth half the time. All my clothes, the way I dress, who would want to? I mean, I look like a goofball. I'm 80 pounds overweight. Blah blah blah. No, if these are the dominating thoughts of your mind, therefore, that's why you have this lack of confidence. All right. But you can turn it around by saying, you know what? I may be 80 pounds overweight, but you know what? I am going to lose 80 pounds and I'm going to become healthy and fit. I'm going to do this through the power of my ability to get myself to take action, which is going to be an attractive trait. And that's a thought. Now, take that, write it down, state it every morning and every night, and put it somewhere where you see it everywhere you go, and repeat it and let it become a dominating thought. Repeat it over and again. Let it attract other thoughts that support it. I love going to the gym. When I go to the gym, things are great. It's an opportunity for me to get my blood pumping through my system. It actually helps boost my immune system. And oh my gosh, and all these things is not, I'm going to be healthy and fit. And so a woman who would be with me is going to love to be with me, not only because I'm healthy and fit, and I've proven that I take action and on the things that I say I'm going to do, but I'm also going to be able to provide for and care for that person much longer because I'm taking care of myself. And it's attracting these things, and all of a sudden, this is what leads to self-confidence. He says the application of this principle may be made through the simple arrangement of positive thought impulses in writing. So write down positive statements. And then in the book, he gives you an entire list of great statements. I'm not going to read all of them. Again, Think and Grow Rich, my notes on Think and Grow Rich is not for me to read the entire book to you. And I haven't even read all of just these few pages that I'm covering. I'm just giving you some of my highlights and some of my commentary here. But I do want to read one of these that I think is really great. He says, I fully realize that no wealth or possession can long endure unless it's built on truth and justice. Therefore, I will engage in no transaction that does not benefit all whom it affects. I will succeed by attracting to myself the forces I wish to use and the cooperation of other people. I will induce others to serve me because of my willingness to serve others. I will eliminate hatred, envy, jealousy, selfishness, and cynicism by developing love for all humanity, because I know that a negative attitude towards others can never bring me success. I will cause others to believe in me because I believe in them and I believe in myself. I will sign my name to this formula, commit it to memory, and repeat it aloud once a day with full faith that it will gradually influence my thoughts and actions so that I will become a self-reliant and successful person. If you want to become a self-confident person, I promise you, if you get into chapter 3 of Think and Grow Rich, the chapter on faith, and take this entire, there are a couple affirmations on these 2 pages in chapter 3 where you get there. I promise you, I don't need to do this. Although, even though I don't need to do these, I'm actually going to add these to my affirmation file. Matter of fact, I wrote in the margin, all of these should be added to my affirmations. All of these should be, and I'm going to add all of them to my affirmations. I have a printed out affirmation list. It starts in Evernote. I'm going to put it into my Evernote. I'm going to reprint out my affirmation list with all of these on them. And I'm going to also put them in my ThinkUp app. And I'm going to end with this, which means that I can now, let's see here. Anyway, so I'm now going to share with you one last thing. And again, we're not in the chapter. The next chapter is autosuggestion. But since we're on autosuggestion, since we're on affirmations and written down statements that you repeat over and over again, how did I get to the place where I am today? It's because I took all of the things that I want to believe about myself and I wrote them down, and then I repeated them over and over again. And then I came across this app called ThinkUp. It's available on Android, I'm pretty sure. It's certainly available on iOS. And it is an amazing application that and by the way, if you get the paid version, you can do longer affirmations and you can do more affirmations. I paid for the lifetime or the lifetime access to the premium thing. And what you can do is you can write in all your affirmations and then you can record your own voice saying those affirmations. And then you can just click and you can actually have them read them in order, and you can actually have it, or it can play them in order, or you can have it randomize it. So it just randomly selects different affirmations that you've chosen that you want to consistently program into your subconscious mind. Now, I did this when I first got this app, and I got this app 2.5 years ago. When I got this app, I recorded more than 100 affirmations in my own voice, and I forced myself to listen to it for 45 minutes a day, every single day, for at least 9 months. And I will tell you what, the reason I have the positive mental attitude I have today, the reason that I absolutely firmly deep down at the subconscious programming code of my life level believe every single one of these statements to be true. I am 54 and a half minutes into this recording, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow this thing to just roll for a little bit. And I'm just going to hold this here, and I'm going to hit play, and I'm going to let it randomly select affirmations. And these are the things that I have told myself to be true. And some of these things are just affirmations that I just want to believe. Some of these things are things I've heard from training resources, and I just want to be reminded of these truths. But all of these things are statements that I want to operate my life by. When something happens to me in life, when I'm faced with any circumstance or any situation, I want my feelings and emotions to be based upon these thoughts. When I take an action, I want my subconscious mind to urge me to take an action based upon these truths. So have a listen to this. This is from my ThinkUp app.
Hope is the atmosphere where all things thrive. When I step onto the stage, I'm going to make a difference. My message matters more than I can possibly know. I am confident that what I have is enough and that the world definitely needs it. I am committed to finding beauty in everything in life. The work that I do makes a positive difference in the world. Observing how I treat other people tells more about my relationship with God than it does my relationship with them. I have a deep conviction that I am not here by accident. These people are not here by accident. Everything in my life, the successes, the failures, the struggles, the pain, and all of the joy, everything has been building toward this moment. Other people's sins against me cannot diminish God's power to work mightily through me. The controlling force of our life.
Okay, so I apologize. I had my phone on Do Not Disturb, but unfortunately, I got a call coming in. What's up,
Never
baby?
mind.
That's okay.
Never mind. Bye.
Hey, no, wait, don't hang up. You're
Hurry up.
you're getting recorded. Say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody.
What's up?
I just needed to call and talk to you about dinner and other things.
Well, what about dinner? Talk to me about dinner, baby.
I am going to do an early dinner when Matthew gets off work.
So 3:30, 3:30 early dinner, and you said it's going to be Chipotle?
Yep. Would you like me to feed you?
I would love. Oh, I can feed myself, but I would love for you to order me some Chipotle. Yes.
All right.
My same
Okay.
order from the previous order would be awesome.
All right. Got
Awesome.
it.
And so you said dinner and other things. What other things? I saw a text message about the gym.
The other things are just going to be how much I suck because my day is going faster than me, and
Oh, come on now. You can't be saying things like that when I'm sitting down here talking about the importance of the dominating thoughts and what we say to ourselves.
yes, and right now I'm struggling with, just because I know it doesn't mean that sometimes I don't have to fight my way to get there.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Right.
Number one, you don't suck. And
Okay.
you know what? When you go to bed tonight, you will have done the most important things that you needed to do today.
Okay. Yeah. As long as I finish my sister's baby blanket, I will have.
Very cool.
All right.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
All right. I love you, baby.
All right, I love you too.
All right, bye. All right. So, okay. I'm going to just stop there because I could click play and let you hear more of my affirmations, but there's literally 2 hours worth of affirmations that are in the ThinkUp app that I use. And that's what I do. You heard just a couple of examples of the kind of affirmations. If I print out the document that is my printed list of affirmations, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's like 7 or 8 pages. So it's just these are the things that cause me to think and feel and experience life the way that I do. And autosuggestion is how I got them there. So I absolutely love the process of making sure that I am very intentional about the environment of that I am surrounded by. What are the dominating thoughts that are being floated around me? And if a thought comes into my mind, I'm reminded of a scripture that says, "Hold every thought captive." Wait a second. This came in. Oh, I suck. I'm horrible. Whoa. Grab that thing right there and then no, I do not. I take that thought, throw it off and say, you know what? I don't suck. I just think okay, maybe things didn't go the way that I intended today, but you know what? I'm not in control of all things around me. But when it comes down to it, it's you get to control where the thoughts are, what the thoughts are. You get to choose these things. They come from everywhere. And all of a sudden, everything people are saying, if you can understand that everything you hear people say is a suggestion, is a suggestion, is a suggestion. And every time you hear it, your mind interprets it and makes it and turns it into an auto suggestion, one that you give to yourself. Repeat it enough, true or false, doesn't matter. Boom. And if it becomes emotionalized, watch out, because then you're going to freaking vacuum all the ones just like it into you. All right? So if all of a sudden you say, so for example, my wife, you just heard her say, "Oh, I suck because I didn't get this done." There was no emotion tied to that. She was just saying something, blah blah blah. So she that, and by the way, saying it once isn't a big deal, and so therefore that she's probably not going to update her subconscious mind and then cause herself to self sabotage all of her future days because she sucks. That's not my wife. Trust me. If you know my wife, you know she's not like that. However, if she attached an emotion to that, it's like, you know what? I really suck. I mean, it just seems like I just, you know what? I give up. And then all of a sudden, you attach any emotion to it, and you start to feel it. That's what it says. It's it magnetizes it and brings others' thoughts just like it. And all of a sudden you'll see it everywhere, and you'll have confirmation bias. Anything and everything will help support that, and it'll bring in other thoughts. And it's like, boom, here it is. You're just tuned into that frequency. And I'll tell you what, I'm not making any statement about what music I like or don't like, but if you hate country music, then turn the station. That's all I'm saying. Well, my friends, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Audio Journal. Again, this has been episode 183. It is the 16th update on the series Cliff's Notes on Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill's Philosophy of Success. I hope you found this valuable. As you know, I'll be back with more very soon. And until next time, I encourage you to take everything you do to the next level.
Mindset Answer Man.
Well, there you go, my friends. I just finished recording episode 184 of the Audio Journal. Did you like this? If so, I highly encourage you to get Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This book is responsible for hundreds of thousands of people who have generated millions of dollars in wealth, and the people who have generated billions of dollars in wealth. Also, almost all of them, at least from the people that I know that have generated significant wealth, it seems like it's at least 70% of them say that this book was the source of understanding how to get it. Now, I can tell you right now, my own life has been radically transformed by this, as has the people that I intentionally do life with the most. So if you haven't gotten the book, Think and Grow Rich, I encourage you to get it. If you come from a similar faith background that I did, you might actually find yourself really struggling through some of the language. It may seem a little new agey, and you hear Napoleon Hill talk about infinite intelligence instead of God. Matter of fact, I did an entire episode on that just alone, just what is infinite intelligence, at least in Napoleon Hill's explanation anyway. So, but here's what I will tell you. No matter what, regardless where you stand, I encourage you to go read this book. If you've read it in the past and you haven't read it in a few years, I encourage you to pick it up and read it again. It might be hitting different right now. All right. You might start picking up what Napoleon Hill was laying down where you didn't pick it up before. This is the truth for me. I read this book in Kindle version several years ago. And I got to tell you, it is like, was he talking about vibration, universal forces, infinite intelligence, and blah, blah, blah? I mean, don't get me wrong. I got a ton of value out of it. I mean, it's like, it was kind of one of those things like, man, if I can just pull 2 or 3 things out of this book and apply it to my life and it makes my life better, then by golly, let's go with it. And one of those things was the Mastermind Principle, which I started my first mastermind group with Pat Flynn back in October 2010. We've been meeting every week since October 2010. That's almost 10 years ago now. So, and we have a couple other guys that are in the group as well now. So anyway, the Mastermind Principle transformed my life. Just the one thing. But now it's like every single sentence on this. And by the way, I listened to the audiobook version of it twice in the past, and it wasn't landing the same way as when I finally just got the physical version. And again, I just want to hold this up here for you. I want you to see this. Look at how much I'm outlining in this book, because everything that's outlined is absolutely critical, mission critical. It's essential that I absolutely like I need to internalize everything that is highlighted in this book. And then I not only highlight in all these different colors, and by the way, people ask me what are the different highlighted colors for. It's just to break up different thoughts because they're not all connected. I write in the margins, I'm underlining certain things. This is, look at this, all of that. And then we're in chapter 2. And then we get into chapter 2, and it goes and it goes and it goes and it goes. I mean, this book is amazing. And by the way, if you like how I give my thoughts on Think and Grow Rich, you can get access to all of them in the Audio Journal podcast. This started with episode 168 of the Audio Journal. You can go listen to that episode right now. Quick little note on that. That episode was an hour and 15 minutes in length, and I kind of rambled as I was going through back and forth on all these different things I highlighted. I didn't intend at that moment to record an entire series of my thoughts on this book. But since then, I made the decision to do so. And I got to tell you, I love it. I'm pretty sure I haven't fully committed to going all the way through the book, but I probably will end up going through the entire book like this. The only thing is this is an hour and however long right now, however long this is. And that was only like 4 pages in chapter 3. I haven't even made it halfway through chapter 3 yet. So yeah, if you want access to it, start with episode 168. It says Think and Grow Rich. It's TAGR01, and it goes all the way up to, this was TAGR16, episode 16 of the series, or update number 16 in the series. And that can be found at mindsetanswerman.com/audio journal. Mindsetanswerman.com/audio journal. By the way, that forwards you to my Patreon account. If you've not heard about Patreon, it's basically where you can contribute to support the work that I do in the world through the content that I create. And it is a $10 a month subscription for the Audio Journal podcast. By the way, mindsetanswerman.com/audio journal will take you to patreon.com/Cliff Ravenscraft. If you sign up for $10 a month, not only will you have access to all of it inside the Patreon app or on the website, and you can click play on everything that's inside that in my Patreon account, but you also have the ability, if you choose to do so, there are instructions in a video that I created on how you can get a custom private podcast RSS feed. And if you use the Apple Podcasts app, or if you use the Downcast app, the Pocket Cast app, or any other app that allows you to subscribe to an RSS feed manually, Patreon gives you your own custom podcast feed, and you can get all of these episodes as I'm releasing them delivered straight to your podcast app. Now, I don't think that you can do that in Spotify. So if you're a Spotify podcast user, I would encourage you to grab one of the other podcast apps that I mentioned in that video tutorial. Instructions are provided there from Patreon as well. But anyway, $10 a month gets you access to this. And if you're interested, mindsetanswerman.com/audio journal or patreon.com/Cliff Ravenscraft. All right, my friends, I wish you great success in going after your dreams, freeing the dreams that are inside of you, and living the life for which you are created. I do believe that now is the time to live the life of your dreams and do the work you feel most called to do in the world. Talk to you soon. Bye.